So if everyone can hear me, I'll start with the presentation right now. So obviously everyone can see my screen here, which is on the Bourse Data website. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to actually go through with you guys and show you is a lot of customers are calling saying, how can I make it life easier to get into the Bourse Analyzer? So what I'll show you is in the actual software. Well, we prefer everyone uses Chrome as their default browser for the Bourse Analyzer, basically because the software was designed for Chrome. So if you're not sure what Chrome looks like, it's the little circle there on my bottom taskbar across the bottom. It's a little circle with the three colors on there. And this browser was basically used to develop the actual Bourse Analyzer software. So we advise you to use it because the actual software does run a lot faster. Okay, so if we go back up to the top here, what I want to show you is basically how to create a shortcut and set it onto your basically your bookmarks bar. So I've already got one set up on my browser here, so I'm just going to delete it. So it looks like this little black bull and bear here, and it says log into Bourse Data. So I'm just going to delete that, and then we're going to re-add it, and I'll go through it with you. So there's a couple of things on this screen that might be you might want to know. Right now I've got the bookmarks bar set on, so to switch that on, I'll go to the top right corner of my Google Chrome, and you see it's actually got these three dots where it says customize and control Google Chrome. So I'll just left click on that, on those three dots, and I'll get a drop down menu. So in this drop down menu, we're going 6 down to where it says bookmarks. And you can see I've got a lot of crap in here. But what I want to show you is something called Show Bookmarks Bar. See where it's got a tick on there? So if I untick that, you'll see this bookmark bar up here disappears. And if I go back up there, it will switch it back on. So if I tick it, it'll reappear. Okay, now to create a bookmark in Google Chrome, it's going to create a bookmark for this address up here, which is the Bourse Data address that I've told you guys all about. In the top right corner, you see a star. And it says bookmark this part, bookmark this page. So I want to put my cursor over it, and I left click. It says login.bourse data, and it's going to add it to the bookmarks bar. Okay, so it says login.bourse data. You can name it whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. Okay. So I'm just going to hit done on there. Okay. Now you might not see instantly. So in the top right corner here, you see these little arrows here, and that gives it a drop down menu. At the bottom there on my one, it says log into Bourse Data. I'm just going to hold my left mouse button down and just drag it up to where I want it. Okay. So with me, I've got a couple of important ones here, but log into Bourse Data, guys. So now we're going to go through and log into the Bourse Analyzer like you've all done before. So I'm going to the Bourse Analyzer login as always. This time I'm going to use my demo account. So I'm using the demo account because there's nothing in there. So I just put in my email address, which is my username, and my password. And I click on the Bourse Analyzer login. And you'll see it opens up a brand new tab for us. So these little tabs across here, so directly underneath the Bourse Analyzer icon there, we've got a couple of tabs. So these are default to when you install a software. We've got the trading one, where we can actually see real accounts in there. We can go to charting, and we've got fundamentals. So these are just the basic layouts that when you get the application, what it can look like. It's really up to you from then on to set up however you want. Okay? So first things first, a lot of people, when they first log into the software, they have the issue where it's in the dark mode and they want it in the light mode. So if I go up to the top right corner here, I see a man in a circle. So when I put my cursor over, in the very top right corner, it goes blue. Okay, so when I left click onto that, in that drop down menu there, that's my username. So it's demo Bourse data, settings, which is basically the software settings, help. So the help section, when I click on that, it'll take me to the Bourse data YouTube channel. If I just go back to the tab across the top here where it says Bourse Analyzer and it's got the BA, it'll take me back to the Bourse. So if I go back up to the user options, you've also got Save Workspace, Restore Workspace. I'll come back to these later on in the video or the webinar because I'll show you how important they are in basically saving everything, all the work you've done. So when you next come into the software, it's available for you. So if we go up to settings up here, okay, you'll see under settings there's something called appearance, and you got dark mode. So this basically changes the background color of the Bourse Analyzer software to the dark background. Okay, and likewise, if you got on dark, you can put on light by clicking on light mode. Also, what's important that you might like is reset password. So this is where you can set your own password here. So the only thing I'd really probably advise with you is make sure when you're setting your new password that it's got upper and lowercase and a number in it. The more secure, the better. Okay. I won't really go into the two-factor authentication. That's a bit more advanced. And if you turn it on, it's a bit of a pain in the ass to turn off. So I won't really go down that path right now. And update mobile. This is where later in a couple of weeks' time, I'll go through our alert system in the software. So basically, if you're running the Bourse mobile app and you set alerts in the Bourse Analyzer or the Bourse mobile, say if you set a price alert, say BHP to hit $30, you get a pop-up alert in your phone where it says, oh, BHP's hit $30. So the whole idea of being able to access the information wherever you are on any device, this is how it works for you. Okay. So I'll just hit done across the bottom right corner here. Okay. And that's taking us back to our normal layout here. So I'm going to go up to the charting little layout up here. I'll just left click on that, and that brings up the screen here. Now, a lot of people I've spoken to, one of the first things I change with you guys is changing the current layout that you've got to one that is, I guess, a bit more relevant. This default layout that I set is a couple of months old, and only recently did we get the advanced charts into the software. So what I'm saying to everyone is we go to the top right corner of your charts and just quickly close them. Okay, so you click on the X and they're gone. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the watch list section with you and just go into a little bit more detail nice and slowly and show you how we can set up your own watch list and then set up the columns the way you want it. And I'll show you to start showing you a little bit more of the power of these watch lists and what they can do for you. So first things first, in here with the watch list, along with all the other windows in the Bourse Analyzer, if you go to the edge of them, you get the double-ended arrow. So if you look in the bottom right corner of your watch list there, you'll see it's got a double-ended arrow. So the whole idea is if I hold down the left mouse button and I drag it, I can resize the window to however I want it, okay? Okay. So first, let's go and set up your own watch list because that's what's most important to you, to look at the stocks you're interested in, stocks or options. So I'm going to go up to the top right corner and I'm going to show you a couple little things. So first of all, we've got something called pair view. So currently what you're seeing the watch list in is in list view. So if I go to pair view, it's just an alternative way to see the same stocks. So if I click on that, it changes it to, say, if I'm looking at AMP, okay, it's got the last price, how many points it's down for the day, the open, the close, the bid, the ask, the low, and the high. Some people like it, some people don't. If you actually switch it on, go to list view up here, and that switches it back for you. Okay, now next to that we got where it says S&P ASX 20. So essentially that means you're looking at the top 20 watch list. So we want to change that. So we click on there. And then below it's going to show you a list of all the system watch lists in here. So you got your 20, your 50, 100, Warlords, etc. All these watch lists, all these system watch lists that I've got set up here will also be used for scanning in the Analyzer. So when I go through the Analyzer, you'll be able to scan the All Lords. I know some clients already asked me, can you put the whole ASX in there? I might do it. To be honest, it's a bit of a pain in the ass to do because it's a lot of work. Because it constantly changes, constantly gets updated. But let's go through and let's set up a watch list for yourself. So if I go to the bottom here, you see something called Create Watch List. So if I click on Create Watch List, it'll ask me what name do I want to call it. The only real issue here is you can't have a space in here. So you can call it whatever you want. I don't think there's any limit to the length of it. Just no spaces in it. So I'm just going to call this Demo 1. I hit Save. So that's saved that watch list. Now if I go back up to the top 20, in the bottom of that list there, you see Demo. Okay? So next to the word Demo there, you've got something called, it's basically these little 2 bits of paper here. That's the duplicate function. So if you want to make a copy of it, it's also applicable for all your system watch lists. So if you want to start with the top 20, then start adding your own codes to it, you can use this duplicate function. Next one along you got is the pen, which is your rename. So you can rename it whatever you want. And then you got your X to basically delete the watch list. Okay, so I'm just going to start by adding codes to the Demo 1 watch list. So left click on that. Now to start adding codes to your watch list, there's a couple of ways you can do it. One is by clicking on Add. This is the simplest way of doing it. So in the top right corner, you see that little plus symbol and the Add. Left click on that. Then it's got security code. So a couple of ways you can add the codes in here. You can either do it by the code. So I can go CBA for Commonwealth Bank. So I'm going to get a couple of different results in here. So the top one is XAU, and then you got XASX, and then you got CHIA. So your XASX is your ASX exchange only. CHIA is the Chi-X market. So if you want to buy CBA, there's a couple of different markets you can buy it in the Bourse Analyzer, and we try to reflect that. So the reason why we've gone down the path of offering the Chi-X, about 20 to 30% of the volume that goes through the market these days of buying stocks goes through the Chi-X market. So we want to give you the total overview of what's going on in the market. So the combined ASX and Chi-X code is called XAU. So if I click on XAU, that adds to your watch list. So I'm going to go through now. I'm going to add a couple of codes. So I can also add one by typing in the actual stock name. So in this case, I want to do Westpac because I don't know what the code it is. And you see that result there is WBC.XAU. So you'll start noticing when I add codes into it, it'll sort to it alphabetically. Okay. I'll do a Luca. Okay. So I've changed my mind. I don't really want to have a Luca in there. So if I left click on that row there for a Luca, see it highlights blue. Now, next to the add button up there, the remove becomes, I guess, bolden. It's not grayed out anymore. So if I just left click on that, it's gone off the watch list. So everything in our watch list will sort alphabetically automatically for you and also save automatically. So you don't have to go with it, add your codes, and then have to go back and save it. It just saves for you automatically, save to the server. So whatever your computer you go to, you log into it, it'll be available for you. Next button along is the basically export function. So if you've got like 100 stocks and you just want to get an overview for how they perform for the day, click on the button, and you see in my bottom left corner here where it says watchlist.csv. Can you see that down there? If I click on that, it's opened an Excel document with the values of the watch list above. Okay? So this works on a lot of our windows in the Bourse Analyzer. It's really good for your portfolios. So if you've got a portfolio of stocks you're interested in and you want to see how they're performing, you can use this as basically a daily download for the system. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that. So now we're going to have a quick look at a couple of the columns in the software, sorry, in the watch list. So some of the clients are saying to me, I actually want to see the description of what the stock is next to the actual code. So you can see here where the cursor is, there's a column here called description. Okay, I'm just running my mouse up and down it. If I want to move that to the far left next to where it says code, all I have to do is left click on it to hold it and then just drag it. And you'll see how it's going from column to column. And I'll just drag it over to here and there it is in your system. Okay, remember that's going to save for you automatically, so next time you log in, it'll be available. So one other thing I'd really want to show you in the watch list is announcements, or you probably would have known them in the Bourse 7 or the Market Analyzer as notifications. So you'll see there's a column here called A. So right under where it says pair view, you're going to see there's a column there called A, which basically stands for announcements. Okay, so just remember, XAU in the system is the combined ASX and the Chi-X market. So if I quickly just jump back up here and I add some codes, I'm going to do this for ANZ, and I'll show you the comparison in there. So if I go to ANZ, so I've added just the ASX market. Now if I go in here and add my Chi-X market, so on the ASX, okay, easiest way to check it is in the value column here, it did 106 million, 540 million, okay? 106 million and a half, basically, okay, in value. If I look at Chi-X, it did about 31 and a half million, okay? Then I look at XAU, and there's you combined. So that's 106 plus your 31 equals your 138. So that's why we've gone down the path of adding the XAU to your watch list. So I'm just going to go through, remove. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the announcements. So I'm just going to drag it over to the left side, over here. Okay, so we can see on the ANZ watch list here, sorry, ANZ code, there's an N next to the announcement. Okay, so when there's an N in your watch list, that means there's a notification in the system that there's a new ASX announcement or Chi-X or XAU announcement. Just means announcement, actually. So what we need to do is show you what it actually means. So I'm just going to resize my watch list a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to go up to company data. Okay, under the company data there, we go to company news. So everything within the Bourse Analyzer, whatever you click in your watch list will drive your other windows. So if I click on ANZ, right now it's reflecting because I had ANZ.chia as the top code in there. If I click on anz.xau, you'll see the code updates automatically in there. Okay, so you can see here on the 17th, there was multiple news announcements in here. Okay, so if you want to go, right, that looks fantastic, I want to bore myself to sleep and look at this appendix that got released today, the Appendix 3E. I left click on it, and you'll see it opens up a brand new tab across the top of your screen, and it displays that Appendix 3E. Okay, so to get rid of it, I'll just go up to the top and close it. Okay, so I'm just going to jump to the top 20 here, because I think I saw one that had a price sensitive announcement. No, I didn't. Okay, there we go. All right, so we go to Rio. Okay, see on the Rio announcement column, it's a lowercase n, same with Center Group. So if I click on there, the lowercase n means there was an announcement, but it's yesterday. It came through yesterday. So if I see there, yep, okay, today's the 17th. That actual news announcement was yesterday. Okay. But if I go to West Farmers, there's a capital N. So capital N means there's an announcement today, and red means it's price sensitive. So if I look here, you go, under that column, it says there's a price, it says sensitive, yes. So it's the quarterly statement for production. So I click on there, and if I see, all right, if I look at it a bit closer, if I look at my West Farmers, if it's bad news and it's price sensitive, well, then you're going to see it most likely dip in the price. Okay, so that's the basics of the watch list. I can go into a lot more detail, but we can do that later in further webinar videos. So I'm just gonna, I'll just resize here. I'll drag this down, and I'm gonna go over to here, and I'm just gonna resize this. I'll just drag that out of my way. Okay. So you see how I'm just resizing on my windows, because what I want to do is set up plenty of space to open up a chart. So to open up a chart, we go to company data, then we go to the advanced charts. So we talked many months about these new charts in here. Okay. So I've just opened up a chart. Like all my other windows, I want to go through and just resize it, because I want to get nice and big so you guys can see, and get it to fill up the page, because that's the whole idea of the system. So everything in this system, like I was saying with the company news, whenever I click on a code in my watch list, it's automatically going to broadcast to other windows. So you see it jump update in the company news and also in the chart. Okay, so the whole idea is you can quickly look at the chart and just scroll through and have a look at all these different prices to get a quick analysis of it. So you can also update the code in the top left corner. WBC, I'll go to my favorite. Just like the watch list, it'll update in the chart and the actual company news. If you go, that's driving me up the bloody wall, and I don't want it to update every time. You see in the top right corner of the chart here, there's like a little chain in there. That's called the linking function. So if I turn that off, I just left click to turn it off. If I click on BHP, it only updates in the company news. It doesn't update in the chart. If I turn it back on, back in action. All right. So let's get into the charts. So across the bottom here, you might see my cursor moving. We've got the plus and the minus. Plus, zoom in, minus, zoom out. Nice and simple. If you've got a scroll wheel on your mouse, you can use the same function to zoom in and to zoom out on there. Okay. On the right side here, on the price scale, where it says on the BXB there says 994. So remember, everything in the system is in cents. That's the last price. When it closed on this daily chart, that was the last price of it. Okay. we can go to the compare. The compare is basically your security overlay. So if I wanted to actually, I'll go to ANZ for a sec, and I can do a security overlay of the financials index, so XFJ. So I can see how ANZ is performing compared to the finance index. So you can see they're pretty much bang on in the last couple of weeks from Christmas on. They're very much mirroring each other, where in this period here, from August all the way through to November and December, it was performing better than the actual finance index. To turn it off, or change it, if I want to change colors, I just click on it in the top left corner, and I can change the colors. And of course, you can do multiple overlays on here. It's really up to you what you do. So if you want to do like how's ANZ going against Westpac and then NAB, you can add multiple layers on there. Okay, so to get rid of it, click on the little X next to where it says xfj.xau, left click on that, and that's gone. Next thing along, next to compare, we've got display. So this determines where all the different chart types are. So whatever I select in here will update automatically. The only ones you probably really need to be aware of is open, high, low, close is now called a bar chart. So if I go to bar, it's your black open, high, low, close chart. If I go to colored, it's your red and green. Fortunately, we can't change the colors in this one. That's something we're looking at for future development. Next along here is you might be interested in is open, high, low, close information. So when I click that in the top left corner, it'll show you the open, high, low, close information for wherever I'm pointing on the chart. So people might really like that as well. Another really cool one is crosshair. So when I turn on the crosshair, my pointer becomes a crosshair. So wherever I'm pointing on the chart, in the date and the price axis, you'll see at that particular point where I'm focused, it has it across the bottom. So it just really helps you focus in on what you're looking at. That in conjunction with open, high, low, close information is really powerful. By default, the charts are in semi-log scale. If you want to change it to log scale, tick it, and it'll adjust. Okay. So I'm just going to go back to the candlestick to make it nice and neat. I'll leave my open, high, low, close information in there. Next one along is the chart periods, or the time periods. It defaults to daily. We can go up here and adjust it to, say, a 30-minute intraday chart. Okay. Now, it will default to about 13 bars. So what I advise you do is just use your zoom out to zoom out on your period on there so you get a bit more perception on there to see more information on there. But we'll just roll it back to your daily. Now, next one along here is the studies. So this is probably one of the biggest changes. What you knew as indicators are now known as studies. So if I go to studies up here, okay, there's an option to remove all, then we want to go to add. So let's go through and start adding some studies or indicators as we know them onto the chart. Okay, so in this study screen here, you've got 115 indicators to choose from. So let's just keep it really simple. I'll add a few onto the chart. Then what we're going to do at the end of it is we're going to save it and lock it down. So whatever code you look at in your watch list will have all your indicators on there. So I get a lot of questions about this one where people want to have multiple moving averages. So I'm going to scroll down to moving averages. Okay, so you see moving average there. I'm just going to left click on it. And that's added a moving average on there. So you see the red moving average on there. It defaults to a 50-day moving average or 50 bar, depending on which time period you're looking at. So you see I've just moved my cursor over the actual moving average there. And it says MA 50. It's a moving average, so simple moving average, zero deviation, so zero look back, and it's on N, which I don't know at the moment. So I'm going to right click and have a look. So I right click to manage. So I right clicked on my mouse, and we've got two options here. We've got edit, and we've got delete. So if you want to ever get rid of it, go to delete. Okay, so we've got our period. So if I want to change that to a 20, okay, you can do multiple field types. So this is basically what it's calculated on. So you open, highlight, close. So I'll just leave it on close. You type. So if we want to go down the path of setting up like an exponential, we can tick that option there. I'll leave it as a simple. We got offset, underlay. I've got no idea what that means, so I'm not going to touch it. I should probably go and educate myself and read up on this. And we got MA, which is the coloring of it. So if I want to change to a nice green, click on the color palette. Done. So that's added my 20 simple moving average on there. If I want to add another one on here, I'll go to studies and I go to add. This time I'm just going to be lazy and type moving. And this will basically filter it down. I'll go to moving average. It's added a 50 on there. I right click. I edit. I change that to say a 32. I'm going to leave it as those other settings on here. Nice blue. Done. And I go add. So it's just a bit of a few steps that you need to do to add your multiple moving averages on there. But once you've done it a couple of times, it becomes really simple. And then you can go down the path of doing all like your guppy multiple moving averages on there. And yeah, basically really go to town on it. So I'll just right click on that one and I'll say 200 and I'll do it on a yellow, okay? So pretty quickly, I've added multiple moving averages on there. I can't see my 200. I'm going to have to zoom out a bit. Oh, there it is. So it's drawn it on there. And you'll see on the price scale here how it's added the last price on each section of where these multiple moving averages are. Okay. So they're what we call like the top studies or top indicators. I'm going to go back down here and I want to add a lower indicator. So let's put a MACD on there. So I'm going to search for MACD and I'm going to select that for you. Okay, I'll get to showing adding a moving average to the OBV after I do the MACD, okay? Okay, so I'll go to MACD and I've added the MACD onto the chart there. We see it across the bottom. Okay, so you'll see down the bottom left corner how it's defaulted to 12, 26, and 9. You go, no, that's not what I want. I actually want to modify that. So you see when I put my cursor over the MACD, I get these little options down here. So I've got the arrow to bring it to the top of the chart. If I go back up to the top, I've got arrow to put at the bottom. I've got the cog where I can set, this is where your settings are. So I click on the cog, and it brings up my settings window. So I go, okay, I'll make my fast period 14, slow period 28. I'll leave my cycle period 9. I want to have my MACD, which is my black one. I'm going to change my signal color to blue. So that's the crossing over. I'll have my increasing. I'll have that a little bit darker. Okay, and I'll leave that. I'll have nice red. Done. Okay, so you can change whatever settings you want to it. Let me just flick back to the OBV. So I'm going to go up to studies across the top. I'm going to go to add. I'll go for, I think it's on balance. I don't think it defaults to that. So we'll go to on balance volume. So just like your MACD, it's been added onto there. So we got our OBV. We can change our values on that. The result color, nice hot pink. Fantastic. So it's just a bit of repetition on there. Let's go up here and let's add a moving average on there. So go up to studies. I go to add. I go to moving average. Okay, now it's added it on there. It's added a 50 in here, so I don't just select it. You see how when I select it, it's gone like a thick line. I go to edit moving average. Okay, now this is where we need to have a look. If I go to field, okay, you'll see near the bottom I got signal MACD and I got result on balance volume OBV. So if I left click on there, you see it's popped the moving average directly onto your OBV there. Okay, they work exactly the same as having on the top chart. You can add it to your MACD. You can add it to any of your lower indicators or studies. Done. Okay, so we can't really change the thickness or the line type for the moving averages. They're kind of just standard as they are. That's something I can have a chat to the development team to see what we can do in future development. But what I want to do now is I just want to go up to layouts across the top. So think of layouts similar to how you think of templates in your Bourse 7, your Mark Analyzer. Works exactly the same. So I go to layouts across the top. I go to save as, and I'm going to call this one MACD OBV moving average. Moving average simple, okay? I'm pretty sure it's similar to how your watch list, you can't have any spaces in it, so it looks like a bit of a dog's breakfast, but if you actually know what you've added to the chart, it makes a lot of sense. So I hit save. Okay, so now I can just go to BHP, and this is where it starts clicking together. All the work you've done to set up all your indicators on there or your studies are all available to you. So it makes your life a lot easier. So now all you do is click on your watch list of stocks you're really interested in, and you go, oh, there you go. You can look for your divergence, you can look for your crossovers, whatever you want, sort of thing. Okay, so next thing I really want to show you is in the drawing tools. So if I go to the top right corner and I see drawing, so I left click on that. Now it's a little bit confusing, but under, if I go all the way over to the left side here, under where it says charts.nav, you see drawing tools or drawing tool. Because none are currently selected, I go to none. Okay, and this opens up all the drawing tools. There's over 30 different ones in here. I'll show you just like 2 or 3 of them, just so I give you a bit of perspective on what's available. So we got annotation, which basically means text. Okay, so if I go to here, I just clicked on my chart and I go text, just type that in there and save. So drawing tools are different to your studies or your indicators because they're unique to that specific code. So if I'm currently on NAB and I go back to Macquarie, it's not going to reference it. If I go back to my NAB chart, bang, it's got that text tool on there. If I want to change the color or the font, I go across the top where it says drawing tools annotation. I go color, bang, I go green. I change my font, change it to Times Roman. I'm blind. I need to have it super huge. I need to have it bold, and I go text 2. There we go. So you can do whatever you want in this system with that. You can play around with it. Let's have a look at trend lines or lines in here. So I'm just going to change the origin, otherwise we get too messy in here. And I want to draw a nice trend line from the bottom here all the way up to the top. So I'm going to, instead of selecting annotation, I'll just click on there. Then I'll go to line across the top there. I'm going to change the color to a nice hot pink because that's one of my favorites in here. I'm going to change my line type across the top. I'll go to a nice thick line. So to start drawing a line on here, I'll left click to start and basically left click to stop. Okay. Once you've done a couple of them, it's nice and simple. if I draw a trend line in the middle here and I go, oh crap, I don't want that at all. So if I put my cursor over it, see how it goes red and then the ends go dark sort of thing, or they have the dark circles on them. So if I right click on that, it gives me an option that says right click to delete. And I can't remember who I was talking to earlier today, but it was asking for the range tool, and I'm sorry if I got your name, but I had no idea where it was in the new system. Obviously it's here. So if you highlight every bar in here, every basically trend line or line you're drawing on there, it's got the actual range tool information in there. So I've learned something today as well. So if I want to get rid of it, right click, gone. If I get fed up with all the drawing tools that I've done on this particular chart, clear drawing tools. I probably should have noticed, commented on nav as well. If I want to get rid of my big text, it's exactly the same as your trend lines. Right click on it, gone. Okay. The last one I'll show you is, let's do like a Fibonacci retracement. Okay. Got a nice Rio chart here, and I want to draw from the bottom here. So we got our double bottoms here. So that's probably a really good indication that it's going to have a nice run up here. So I click here to start drawing it, and I can make an adjustment and I can draw it up to however I want on the chart. So you see by default I've got some funky colors on here because I've drawn on here previously, where the fill color has been set onto the chart, and I've adjusted my colors, which is the same colors I use for my trend line and the same thickness. You can also change your settings to show your percentage of change, or basically calculations where the actual lines get drawn. So you can go through here and tick and add or remove whatever you want in there. Okay, so if I'll just change my colors because they'll probably give you the best representation of what's actually going on in there. So if I go to, we'll go to Suncorp, and I'll draw it from here to here. It'll take you a few attempts to get used to it. Once you get used to it, it'll all make sense to you, and bang, it's on there. So whatever code I go to, remember it saved those drawing tools to it automatically. So one of the last things I really want to show you in this video is, kind of covered it earlier in the video, is saving your workspace. So I go up to the user options, which is the little man in the circle in the top right corner, and I save a workspace. Okay. So say if I lose the plot and I accidentally delete my charting layout here. Okay. I go, yeah, I don't need it. I'm going to get rid of it. I'll just jump off that one. I go up to the top right corner here, and I'll go to restore workspace, and it'll bring it back for me. Okay. So that's all I really want to show you in the system right now. I'm trying to just show you the basics of the system to get you up and going. Over the next couple of weeks, I'll go through different parts of the software and add more complexity to it and all the functionality you can get in the Bourse Analyzer. I just don't want to overwhelm you with all these tools in here. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just go through a couple of your questions, and I'll go through and I'll just have a quick chat about what's coming over the next couple of weeks and months. So I'll give you a better idea of what's available. So Chris has asked, how do I move my charts to other screens? Currently, the Bourse is stuck within the actual Chrome screen at the moment. Now, there is a function in Chrome, what we call duplicate. So how I've spoken to a lot of clients is they have multiple layouts in here. So they have one for charting and they have a new one. So all I did was clicked on the plus symbol up here in the top right corner here, and that's created a new tab, and I'll call it full screen. Okay, and I'll go up to company data, then I'll go to advanced charts. Okay, because I've done all the hard lifting already, I'll go to layouts, and I select my layout, and that's got all my studies or indicators on here. Now, if I want to update the code in here, I'll go to the top left corner, I'll go to CBA, bang, and that's added in there. Now, if I want to have one full screen of a chart and another I guess, workspace of your like watch list and like a market depth or news, I go across to the top here and I right click on here and I go duplicate. So that makes a copy of my existing Bourse Analyzer. So if I flick between the two, they're exactly the same. So all I do now is I hold my left mouse button down and I slowly drag it. You can't see it, but it goes onto my second monitor. Okay. And then all I do is on my two monitors, I have one says charting and the other one, which you probably can't see, you might just see it here, it's a separate workspace. Okay. So I drag that back in there and all I want to do is, because I want to keep this, I'll go to save workspace, bang, and that's saved for us. Okay. So I'm just having a look at the questions right now. So, Robin, unfortunately, we don't have a function in here to add your favorite drawing tools to the top toolbar. Because we've gone and basically essentially bought this charting system, it's got a lot of functionality in here, but we don't have the ability to add different tools across the top. It's kind of as it is. Saying that, a lot of people have asked the pre-alert indicators, so your accumulation, distribution, conductor, turning points, market conductor, and retracement are currently in development, and they will be available in these advanced charts. I've requested they be available in your studies, and most likely they'll be at the top of the list here, so you can see them easily as possible. The only one we're not really bringing across is the open channel, because A, no one really uses it, and B, because it hasn't worked in the previous software, so we're not exactly sure how it's calculated. So we really haven't gone down that path of looking at it, because a lot of the educators that I've spoken to about the software haven't really required it. There will also be, currently in the Bourse 7, the market analyzer, there is 4 pre-alert indicators. I think the accumulation, distribution, probably conductor, and maybe a retracement. They'll be available for the analyzer, so you'll be able to scan with the market with those pre-alert indicators and have them in there. Realistically, we're probably looking to get these pre-alerts into the system early to mid-February. Okay, so they will be there, they will be available. Yeah, I'm still getting worked on. Okay, and Cole, I see that, so I've already covered your question. So yes, your pre-alerts will be available. Yeah, I'm getting them done. So don't worry about it. Yes, you can use Firefox. It's absolutely fine. So one or two things might not work as well as the in the Google Chrome software. Saying that, because we want people to use it on all operating systems, so you can use it on PCs or Macs. If people have got it on a Mac and they're using Safari, it works absolutely fine. It just works a little bit better in the Google Chrome, but it is set up to basically run on your Chrome, Safari, and your Firefox. Edge, Internet Explorer, yeah, sorry, good luck with that. They're not as they don't perform as well, so that's why we try to push you to the Chrome, because you're getting the best experience out of the software. Yeah, so also along with that, the idea behind this software is we've gone down this path of changing our whole software because we weren't really happy with the old one. Because we want to give you more opportunities to use the software on multiple devices. So this version here, so a lot of clients I've helped out, I've set up separate workspaces so it works on their tablets. So if you're going on holidays and you don't want to take a laptop with you, you can go, we can set up this on your tablet. You go to the Bourse Data website, you can log into it on your tablet and have all the functionality of here. So the idea is you can just tap your finger along on the codes in the watch list and I'll update dynamically for you. Another one of the questions I saw earlier was, will we have the be able to click on the announcements and open the news? Yes, that's something definitely I've requested to get developed. It might be a couple of months away, but I'm thinking when they click on the announcement for the news, it'll open up a little pop-up window in here. where it has all the company news, and you click on the article, and it opens to a new tab. So that will be coming very soon, or hopefully pretty soon. And I see a question here. Do we need to update Java? Can if you want to. The new version doesn't require Java to run, so you don't need to update it if you don't want to. If you want to update it, that's absolutely fine. It's not going to positively or negatively affect your Bourse Analyzer software. So if you want to do it, fantastic. If you don't, it's not going to make any difference to you how you run the software. Okay, so is there anyone got any more questions that you want me to go through? If I don't go through it now, sorry, Colin's having your question there. So your the bullish and bearish zone. So Cole's question was in the stochastic momentum index. So I'll just go up to your studies here and we'll just add it. So I'm just going to clear off a few of these other ones, which just so I've got plenty of space. Oh, actually, I'll use my brain and go to full screen so you guys can see everything. Okay, I'll go up to my studies up here and I'll go stochastic. So there's a couple we can use just to go to stochastics here. By default, it sets to the 80 and 20 on the bullish and bearish zones on here. That is something I've raised with the developers to see if we can have that ability in your settings to adjust to say 70-30 or 90-10. They haven't got back to me yet on that one, but that's something we're looking to get developed in the next couple of months. So you can actually go in there and set your values in there to whatever you want them to be. So that's something we'll be definitely looking to chase up so you guys can set it to however you want. Okay, so just getting back to my previous comment, if you have any more, how much time delay? So if your question about the time delay in there, if you're paying for live data, especially on your daily and intraday time periods, they will update dynamically in front of you. There is currently a bug with your weekly and your monthly where they won't update the last bar dynamically. They're just not updating. So that's a bug that I've raised with the development team. They're going to look at to get fixed for us. But if you've got if you're looking at daily or intraday and you're paying for live data, it'll update live dynamically for you. If you're paying for the delay data, it's 20 minutes old. It'll update dynamically for you anyway. Martin, I don't really want to go through the analyzer scanning formulas right now. That's probably one I could do next week or the week after. I just want to keep it really simple, this video, just to get people a grasp of the system. If you want to go through the scanning formulas, give me a call tomorrow and we'll go through it over the phone. So is there any more questions that I can go through for you? All right. Oh, yeah. Thanks for that question there, Colin. Let's have me have a look after adding the 6 study. All right, Cole. Let me have a chat to you about that question another time. That's a really in-depth one. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, and I need to go through it with you quite slowly to understand what your question is. And Jan's question, when can we access this video? Yes, this whole webinar has been recorded, and once I do a little bit of editing on it, I'll upload it into our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to accessing it by going up to your user options in the top right corner, go to help, and that will open up the tab here. And there'll be a video in here, say like Bourse Analyzer webinar, and it'll have today's date. I'll also try and send everyone a video about it, so you can have a look at the video, so you get notified of it and have a look at your own leisure, sort of thing. So if that's it, I appreciate everyone attending this webinar. I'll upload the video tomorrow. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to send them through to me. Obviously, log into your Bourse, use it. If you need to send me a question, you go to the contact. And give me a call on 1300 363 766. There it is right there. Or send me an email through to support@Sequoia, and myself and Tristan will be able to help you out with it, okay? So I really appreciate your time. And yeah, appreciate your effort of trying to learn the Bourse Analyzer. It is going to be a great software. It's a really good software. It's going to be really great for what we're going to do over the next months and years. And expect a lot more out of the software. Tell me what you want, and I'll help you out with it, okay? So I appreciate your time, and have a good evening. Thanks a lot. Bye.